This is amazing. I did not expect to come down the stairs into a fully functioning podcast studio, but you've been busy.
I have been busy. I've been busy.
And look, I know we've got the house mocktails here, Jamie, but
yes,
I have to keep my tea as well because, as people don't know, but we know that this is the coldest day in like 40 years in Miramichi today.
It is very cold today. It is very cold, so I give it up blight today.
It's a special day because of this.
Exactly.
But not because of that.
No. Not at all. All right. Welcome to On The Record. I'm your host, Jamie, and this is my first episode, and I have with me today a very special guest. He's a friend of mine. I've known him since I believe 2015. You did a presentation in class.
I think so. I was trying to remember that the other day, Jamie, and it's been a few years now.
It's been a few years.
Yes.
I remember we started speaking about culture and stuff, and that's when I think we exchanged contact information, and after that you've been on my reference paper for resumes. Because
really, I think I came and talked to your class, but then you got involved as one of the student reps on the MyPie, the local young entrepreneur organization. I was a board member at the time, but it's been years. I think we've both come a long way.
Yes.
So has Miramichi.
Exactly. So has Miramichi. Indeed. All right, so we'll get right into it. This is going to be a fun podcast, fun conversation, and we're going to see the Adam without the cape, without saving Miramichi. We're going to see him in his element, I should say, when he's behind the closed doors.
You've got Adam today, not Mayor Lordon.
Yes. There we go, Adam today, all right? Awesome. All right, so we're going to ask Adam a few questions, and then we'll have a trivia at the end, just to have a little bit of a fun at the end of the conversation today. That's okay, Adam?
That makes sense.
Awesome. Now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and just who you are?
Well, a little bit is the key. You're going to have to probably cut me off, Jamie, but
I don't mind. Let's go.
It's so I've been I grew up here in Miramichi, born and raised. I'm in addition, a lot of people, one of the things I get asked the most is, what do you have a job? What else do you do besides being mayor? Because of course here in Miramichi it's a part-time job to be the mayor. Yes. It's lots of work, but it's a part-time job. So in addition to that, as you know, I'm a television and film and media producer and director. So I have my own production company, Neenan Productions, along with my partner in that, Michelle Cadogan. And so I do a lot of fun creative work all around New Brunswick and around the country. I spent 10 years, most of my 20s, living in Toronto, which was just an amazing experience. It's where I started working in television. I guess so my passions and interests are media and being creative, but also community and helping people and trying to make things better, and passionate about creating positive change in Miramichi and in New Brunswick, and really even in a lot of my creative work, just trying to help people and tell interesting stories. It's just seemed to be something that's followed me throughout my life at this point.
Awesome. Because I think when I first met you in 2015, I think you just came back from Toronto, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. Yeah, I got back in the summer of 2014.
Awesome. Because I remember we had a conversation too. Yeah. So that's it's pretty awesome. Okay. Tell us a little bit about growing up here in Miramichi overall, and about your young years.
Well, what's interesting is I'm at that point now because I'm into my mid-late 30s, and so it feels like it was an awful long time ago. And Miramichi feels like it's changed a lot, and I think a lot for the better. But at the same time, back then I, a child of the 80s.
Myself,
and so you know the drill. But I feel like we had that idyllic childhood. So riding bikes all the time around my neighborhood. Like I lived on Gordon Road when I grew up, and down the street from Riverside Drive was a big subdivision. So just meeting up, there were tons of kids in the neighborhoods. Of course, I've got a big extended family on both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side. So dozens and dozens of cousins. I think that's something that you kind of take for granted here. And I would wonder what it's like where you're from too. But not everybody. You don't realize until you maybe get a little older and get away that not everybody has 30 cousins. But so lots of family, lots of being outdoors in the summers, going to my grandparents' cottage down in Port Elgin in the southeast of New Brunswick, and lots of good memories of growing up. And then, of course, in high school, getting really interested and involved. And around that late 90s, early 2000s was when, the internet really became something that was pretty significant. Because most of my life, I didn't really even know that I could do for a career what I ended up doing, right? Working in television. You can work in TV as a job. Young Adam didn't really realize that, but again, the world has changed so much with the internet and media and connectivity, and so a lot of opportunities have been created that didn't exist at that time. But yeah, I mean, really, we had a lovely childhood growing up here, and spread my wings a little bit, but eventually, of course, I found myself back.
Exactly, home is home, right?
That's it.
It's funny you said about internet, because growing up, same age really, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have phones and stuff like that, so we didn't really play the video games. I mean, if you played a video game, it would be the Game Boy, the black and white, but we would normally be outside playing football, what you call soccer, or playing cricket, or just climbing trees, going on fruit hunts, mango walks that we call it back home, because we live in a lot of bush area, so you could go on fruit hunts, and we can farms, chicken farm. If your grandparents had, goats and stuff like that, we'll go there on holidays. And so it was different from now, because when I do presentations for my job, and I said to kids, these are kids 7 to 12 to 13, right? And I said, what do you guys do for fun? They'd be like, I play Call of Duty. I'm like, at your age, we weren't doing that.
We missed that, you're right. We had the original Nintendo.
Yes.
And I have a brother who's around the same age as me, so we were only ever allowed to get games that were for 2 players, so that we wouldn't fight over whose turn it was. But we, there was just that, but it was mostly outside, and we, climbing trees as well, and and hide and seek, manhunt was a popular game, a team-based. Hide and seek, and I wasn't as fortunate to have mangoes at my disposal in the woods, but I mean, we did have the occasional wild blueberry.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Some bit of experience there, picking foods, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I love blueberries, but it would have been okay to find a mango every now and then too.
That is so true, Adam. That is so true. Let us about your role and duties and responsibilities as being a mayor. Is it something that's hectic? Is something that you find that's very keeps you occupied from doing things that you probably want to do, like a bucket list, so to speak?
It's an interesting position, because there is not necessarily a playbook or a job description of here's how to be the mayor, and I think that's one of the, at first it can be a little overwhelming about it, but it's also, I think, as you grow into the role, something that you realize is an opportunity. So each mayor should, in my opinion, kind of make the role their own. And really what it is I think a lot of people think that there's a lot of power associated with it, which is not necessarily true. I don't really have any additional power officially any more than any other member of the council, other than just the platform of being able to talk and create awareness and momentum for issues or changes that I think need to be made, or issues that need to be addressed. And it is kind of at times like other things, a bit of a bottomless pit, in that there's you're never going to run out of things that could be fixed or improved or made better, or people to help, right? So I think you do have to find that balance on a personal or human level sometimes to say, I know that I'm doing everything I can, but I also need to know that sometimes I can't do it, or I need to limit myself to those 30 hours a week, because I also need to do my job to pay my bills, and maybe there are other things. But I guess I'm fortunate, because a lot of my interests or passions, I can sort of channel myself through my job as mayor to help. So whether that's, helping create Miramichi as a really welcoming and inclusive place, whether that's, helping entrepreneurs or being involved in media, I guess it's not to say that it's a hobby, but that a lot of my interests I can fulfill either through doing things as mayor, but also even in my own work, my creative work is something that I really love that work. So My friends, my partner, Evan for sure would say, oh, well, he's a workaholic, and I wouldn't deny it, but I'm just fortunate that I like most of the work I do. And in between that, though, especially as I get a little older, you realize more and more the importance of carving out that personal time.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I try, for example, always like Sundays, in particular Sunday evenings, I just want to be home and having that time and making sure you go on that vacation or take that break or go to the beach. So carving out that personal time in and around the work, but I do love the work.
Exactly, because that's, even though you love the work and all that stuff, but you have to have the balance, right?
Absolutely.
You want a healthy life at the same time. So yeah, that's pretty good. Have you ever been outside of Canada?
Yes, actually. Not to say a lot, but more than once. So I was really fortunate when I was in high school. And again, when we go back, like we just did to the 90s, when we were in high school, it was a different world. So we were not nearly as connected as we are today.
Exactly.
In terms of like a global community, right?
Right.
But so when we grew up in that time, my mom, it was very important to her that me and my brother and my sister behind me as well, like she sent us all on the high school, like at our high school would have an annual travel club trip to Europe.
Okay.
So like a 2-week that you could go on and save up and ultimately, so that was the first time I'd never been on a plane before, but went straight to Europe on that trip. And we went to Spain, southern France, and Italy, but it was really like what my mom's intent, which definitely worked, was to expose me to the idea that there's a lot more world out there than just our little piece of the world, and that that there's an incredible amount of diversity out there too. And so we love where we're from, but it's not any better than anywhere else, and there are so many interesting places and people out there that look at things differently. And so really it's exposing yourself to the world, to cultures, to diversity, and you get the bug, and there's so much world to see. Like I've been fortunate, I've gone back to Europe a couple more times. I've been down south. Where I really want to get next is I'd love to get down to South America and over to Asia. I mean I love seeing Europe, but at this point I'm saying I've been there, so I need to go somewhere else.
New scenes, right?
And I got to get to Jamaica.
There you go. You have to.
And what about you? Other than Jamaica and Canada, have you traveled?
America.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, okay.
America.
Which parts?
New York.
You know what I found about New York, because I've been to New York a couple times, and for work, which when I make TV, like I went down. I was working for the CTV in Toronto, and I went down to shoot some stories, and I got to shoot and work in the 30 Rockefeller Center.
Nice.
So that if you work in TV, that's like the Mecca, right? Which was so cool. But I find in New York, like we all see New York so much in like all the movies and TV, and when you get to New York, you're like, oh, it feels familiar. I've seen this before, but it's so cool to be there.
It is, yes, it is. And it's a funny thing you mentioned about culture too, because that's one of the reasons why I took to you in a particular sense, because when we just got here, things are changing now big time. Because when we just got here, Adam, it was like, whoa, who is that? You know what I mean? It was like, it was strange for them to see other cultures here, and that experience kind of gave us that culture shock as well, right? Because we're like, okay, these people don't know where we're from, and they don't know the parts of the world. Persons would ask me like, do we have huts in trees? I'm like, no, we live in normal houses in Jamaica.
Yes.
But when I met you, I remember we touched on culture, just on that diversity, and I realized that, okay, so there's some persons here who are actually aware, and that makes it a bit more welcoming, a bit more comforting for us than just to be, who is that? Where is he from? Type of thing. So yeah, that was pretty helpful.
I think too, for me, and as the community is changing so quickly, and I think for the better in so many ways, becoming more diverse and more accepting too, right?
Yes.
And that goes hand in hand.
Accepting,
but I think I remind myself that some of the people that maybe took a little longer to get to that open mind is exactly what you said. Like that older generation, so many of them, the world was like, we joke about how we didn't have internet till we were teenagers. They didn't have internet till they were, middle-aged or seniors, right? And what they mean is that a lot of those people never left New Brunswick or never left Miramichi, and we were not very diverse for their entire life. So, I often try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm fortunate to have been exposed, and learn so much at a young age and really understand the value of acceptance and diversity. And I was speaking earlier today to a group actually of newcomers from around New Brunswick and that are meeting down at the Rod, and we talked about that was we need people. I think most of us are there now, but the people that need to come, like they're not going to change their hearts and minds by us being aggressive or conflict based. It's to just show the leadership of what valuing diversity and inclusion can do, but always leave that door open for them too. So when they eventually get there, we're going to welcome them into, even if it took them a little while to get there.
Exactly, that is so true. And since you've been to so many places,
yes.
So I'm going to ask you your favorite local dish and your favorite foreign dish.
Okay, Jamie, you're tapping into a passion of mine here too, because I don't know if you knew this, but I am like a serious foodie.
I know that.
When we travel, Evan and I, like, one of the things we research the most is the restaurants and where we're gonna eat. Every meal is an opportunity. So there's nothing worse to me than traveling, being on the road and a bad meal. Whether that's a vacation across the world or even if I'm traveling on a shoot. Like if you're shooting all day and you get that one crew dinner at the end of the night, it's gotta be good, right?
Yes.
So locally, I guess it's interesting because you don't necessarily realize when you're growing up that these things are local, right?
Yes.
But I love fiddleheads, for example.
I don't even know what that is.
It's okay. This is a vegetable that grows literally on the side of the riverbanks.
Oh, fiddleheads?
Fiddleheads, yes. So they sort of a bit of an asparagus type of a texture and taste. They're delicious. And they come out in the spring along the riverbanks. So you can go pick them if you're really ambitious, or a lot of, you see the trucks that are selling them off the back of the truck around town. You can get them there too. So fiddleheads would be something that I really enjoy. And I mean, of course, we're Maritimers, we love the seafood, so which is not unique to us, but we have very delicious. So the striped bass that people fish now in the Miramichi River, scallops, sorry, I'm struggling with the word, Atlantic salmon. I certainly love the bounty of seafood that we have. Lobster, how could I almost have forgotten the lobster? So those are some of the local favorites. And
that's rich people's dish right there, lobster.
But you know what, Jamie? It's interesting. When my grandfather, my mom's father, was a fisherman. He's deceased now. And when they grew up, lobster was the poor people's food.
Wow.
And like they would get sent to school, as I'm told, with lobster sandwiches and would be embarrassed about it. And would try to trade their lobster sandwiches with some of the rich kids who were eating PB&J. Wow. So isn't that wild?
No, PB&J would be the poor people's food right now.
Yes. So it's totally flipped. And I mean, they're not even allowed to eat peanut butter anymore at the schools because of all the allergies. But but it's funny, and you're right. So it is a treat now for us, and you never know. Like each year, is it going to be what's those prizes going to be? But I'm fascinated by learning about that history of that it used to not be that way.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah. Okay. But and so you got to tell me then also yours. But if we're talking about, like, I'm thinking about, I've had so many great meals. It's hard to be put on the spot, right? But I'm really one time Evan and we went to Chicago for a weekend before we moved back to Miramichi from Toronto, and we found this southern barbecue place in Chicago that we had, of course, researched, and we had this full. This is what comes to my mind, but we had this full trout, Brussels sprouts, grits. We had never had grits. Like, there were just so many components to the meal, and it was all amazing. And it wasn't the fanciest thing. I joke, hopefully my sister will never watch this, but we tease my sister because sometimes to me it feels like to her good means what's the most expensive. But that's not what it means to me. It's like, what's the most unique experience, and what's the taste. It doesn't need to cost a lot. It just has to be oftentimes simple food made really
Of
well,
course.
right?
Yes, that is true. That is true. And I say that too, just on a little tangent. I realized that the cooking now is diminishing. Cooking skills are diminishing. Like, I don't know if you noticed this, but like, I bet your grandparents were good cooks, and your moms were good. Your mom were good cooks, and then now, after that, it becomes like, yeah, it's okay, it's getting okay, and then now it's like, no, it's not there. Because for me, my grandmother was a good cook. She was so good. My mom was good, but nowadays you're finding the younger generation, they're not so in tune with cooking.
You know, it's funny because my grandparents were both all of them very good cooks, but my mom, in fact, was not. And God love her. I mean, she raised the three of us as a single mom, and in some ways, like, you know, it was very functional. Like in my immediate family, like, you know, we didn't eat for pleasure.
Okay.
Like, it was very functional. So you know, it was, you know, and we were not well off either. So you know, there, to a degree, like, it was humble food, but often not very flavorful, and often well done or too well done. You know, so when I actually left, and you know, I didn't have sushi till I was 20 years old, right? And down in Halifax, and discovering that, and so the journey of actually discovering, like, you know, food can be flavorful. There's so much opportunity with food. So it's something that, not just going out and eating, like, if I have a free day, you know, one of my favorite things to do is actually to try to cook a really interesting and delicious meal.
Awesome.
So I get some therapy in the kitchen.
Yeah, you're gonna have to invite me over to
try it. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta tell me. We're talking. So what would be like your favorite, like, Jamaican dish?
Jamaican. It's a weird one like you, because it's many. But if I was to choose right now, it would be like roast chicken and rice and peas. I'm talking rice and peas, maybe soaked in coconut milk. Delicious.
Okay, now I'm just hungry.
Yes, very delicious, man. You need to try that for sure. What are 2 things on your bucket list this moment?
Well, geez, I mean, I'm feeling like I'm feeling the itch to take a big trip again. So that's something that we're trying to plan for, like a big international trip. We were supposed to go. A friend of mine was supposed to get married in the summer of 2020 in Spain. Her fiance, now husband, is from there. And so we were excited to, you know, maybe plan a big trip around that, which of course didn't happen because of COVID. So we're feeling the itch to get out and travel again. And, you know, I think I'm evaluating from a professional perspective. I've got an exciting show coming out this spring.
Right.
It'll be now called Brit Out of Water. We filmed formerly known as End Brexit, but it's a sitcom based in New Brunswick here with my friend James Mollinger, who's a well-known comedian from St. John. And that was a bucket list thing for me, because most of my career in television has been in what we would call non-scripted or factual TV, so lifestyle, reality, documentaries. And this was the first time I've ever done and directed and actually co-wrote with James a scripted show, a scripted comedy. And so that was a lot of fun. So I think,
can imagine,
you know, for me, doing maybe a little bit more writing, and I was actually, I acted in the show with James as well, and some others, of course, including Judy Loge here, a well-known person in Miramichi.
But not me. I was
and that was
invited.
A lot of fun. You're gonna have to come next season 2. Season 2, Jamie. You're in the cast.
You're hearing me? You're hearing season 2. All right.
We get a season 2. You're there. So,
all right.
You know, it's sort of, I felt to this point like my life keeps building. And I feel content, and, you know, I'm gonna keep looking to take next steps.
Right.
But I don't necessarily have like a hard. It's got to be this.
It's got to be. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a bit flexible.
Yeah,
so
I think so. I think that, to me, like, you in life, like, it's important to have goals, but also to be flexible, to understand that what you might think it is might not be exactly what it is in the end. You know.
Yeah. That's fair. Sounds pretty good. Do you have any fear? Are you a thrill seeker?
Oh, what?
Thrill seeker.
Oh, a thrill seeker.
Jump from buildings to buildings, from roof to roof. I don't know.
I mean, I think I have an adventurous streak for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't. Spiders and snakes, I don't know, but like, I mean, I can handle them.
Yeah.
dying. I mean, not to get really dark or anything, but I think about that. I'm I'm not necessarily scared of it. It will happen eventually, but hopefully not for a while.
For me, it's heights.
Heights. You know what? That does it for me too. Yes.
I'm scared of heights. Yeah. If you want to like get anything from me, like yes, put me in a building and be like, what you saying? I'm like, yes, let's take it. Anything you want to take it, definitely. This one is one of my favorite questions. Like persons always fight over this ones. Like friends, do you eat fruits in public?
Okay, like I
had to ask.
I mean, there are so many things I'm tempted to say, Jamie, that I'm not going to say.
Don't.
I think I'm gonna say it will. Would I say it would depend on the fruit?
That's fair. That's fair. Yes, that's fair.
But generally,
let's use mango.
What's that?
Let's use
mango. Oh, it's very messy.
Yes, it is.
But it wouldn't stop me. You know what? Actually, if I'm in the moment, we're having a little picnic or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I don't get self-conscious about those things.
Okay.
But in fact, I'm almost the opposite because, like I'm, I think it's just being grounded and being a human being. Like sometimes it's awkward to do things, but like I won't. If I'm, if we're having dinner in a park or picnic or, I'm not thinking about what are all these people looking at me eating this mango.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is a tasty mango.
Yeah, I want a mango. I want some. Awesome. Okay. All right. If you were to get stranded on an island, right, and you could choose just one person to be with you on that island, who would it be and why?
Well, I think
be honest.
I think I'm supposed to say Evan, right? Like
it's a Bible.
I mean, ultimately, do you take the practical route? So somebody who's very good at survivalist, intuitive nature. Somebody that can build me a shelter. Somebody that can make sure I don't eat the poison plants.
Yeah.
Do you pick somebody that's more entertaining and we'll just make sure that you got to have fun while you're stranded, right? I don't know.
That's true too.
So
two good points.
Yes, it's there's always I'm a bit I overthink sometimes, but I'm very analytical. So there are a number of angles.
Yes.
But I don't. Geez, I guess I will have to probably stick with Evan because I think between the two of us we can figure out the functional bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Fair. All right. If you could choose one superpower, what would it be and why?
Geez, well, again, that's a tough one. Do I use my superpower to do good? For good?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
or do I use my superpower to do good for Adam? I mean, I don't know. Geez, it's a tough. These are the hard-hitting questions, Jamie, that you have here. What would be your? Let me ask you. What would be yours, and that might inspire me.
I've always liked Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler, the vanishing and the coming back again.
Oh.
Teleportation thing out.
Okay. That seems practical.
Yeah.
You know what? There would be that to be able to. Is it teleport? That? Yeah. I think that would be. I think I'd go for that because the ability. I mean, we just talked about loving traveling, and there's too much world to see. But if you could just even on a freezing cold Saturday in Miramichi, if you could snap your fingers and be on a beach or exploring some ancient site, all right, I'm gonna go for that.
That is a good one. That's true. Favorite movie and song.
Oh my God! I meant when you sent me the questions, I meant to tell you to take this one out because I'm very bad at what's your favorite thing and being put on the spot, right?
One of your best.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You said movie and song, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, so well, I'm just thinking about last year. I mean, this is gonna make me sound probably a bit cliche, but I really the last couple of years, I've turned into a bit of a Swiftie, Taylor Swift.
Okay.
With also Drake.
Okay.
I enjoy, I do enjoy, there's to me, like, people like Drake or even Justin Bieber, like the people that are Shania Twain, like I have a soft spot for Canadians who've gone big, yes, Canadians who have gone global.
Yes.
And I do, so I love to support them too.
Exactly.
But I gotta, and I hear you make music, so maybe you're gonna be one of my favorite artists.
You never know. You never know.
Okay, and you ask about movies, but I'm truthfully more of a TV show guy.
Okay, so, that's fair, dude.
Yeah, and I think it was I love a good movie. Who doesn't, right? But but TV is really something that like it's what I create. I'm very interested in it.
Yes.
So there's nothing to me like a good series.
Right.
And, well, right now we just started watching The Last of Us. So it's a new
I play the game.
Yes, based on the video game,
yes,
and
it's pretty
filmed
good.
out in Alberta, Calgary mostly, and across Alberta, on HBO. Yeah. And I think we're 3 episodes in, but it's I'm hooked.
Nice, that's pretty good. Camping or road trip? Which one would you choose?
Camping or a road trip? Mm-hmm. Truthfully, I love both of those things.
Me too.
And I try to go camping every summer at least one time, and even if we just get down to Kitchener-Macquac, which I love, like Kitchener-Macquac is something that I grew up going to the park. Our family, we used to do a traditional getaway weekend, or at least every Labor Day before going back to school when I was a kid, and we still go there. It's my favorite beach to go and swim at. But I mean, a road trip. Camping is sort of, to me, like it's about slowing down and being in nature, which is really important to me to do that. But a road trip is also exploring and new experiences, and often, of course, with friends. So I really value both of those things.
Yes. And I realize it's a Canadian way too, right?
Yes.
Road trips and camping. You guys here, you love doing both of those things.
Well, you're right. I mean, ultimately, like it feels to me like that's a big part of our culture.
Yes,
like I've grown up doing both and loving both.
In Jamaica, we go on a lot of trips, but it would be like just beach trips.
Beach trips.
Yeah.
I mean, I could get on board with that too. Yeah, have you been to Kitchener-Macquac?
Oh yes.
So it is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
But do you go to a beach and you're thinking, well, I mean, like I'm from Jamaica.
Yeah.
It's just a beach.
Yeah. That is true. Because when I first came in and I went to Miller Island, they were like, the beach. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised because that was never. When I was a kid at Middle Island didn't really have. I mean, we'll use a beach with air quotes, right? Like it's a nice place where you can sit by the river.
Yes,
but I went there this summer, and I couldn't believe how many people were there at the beach. Yeah, which is great. That's great. I mean, part of that too is because as you probably know, like when I was growing up, we had our main economy here was mills. And pulp and paper mills, and so there was a lot of pollution, and in the river, and nobody could really swim in the river. So what I do feel really happy about is seeing people swimming in the river again.
Yes, that's true.
Which hadn't really happened in my lifetime. So whether it's there or more upriver, by Beaubears or down towards Logieville, it's nice to see people really using the river again for more recreational purposes.
Yeah, it's good when you can use your resources for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we've come to the end of the questions. Now
it's a trivia time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's a trivia time.
Okay, so I have obviously not seen how many questions and what are the categories here?
We have 5 questions.
So
I have country. Can I say country?
Country?
Yeah. Canada. Hint people, hint.
Okay, I could be okay. I'm always embarrassed of not knowing something, but I also you may be or maybe not aware, Jamie. I do have a bit of a competitive streak, so and I love trivia. Like I used to be on a trivia team in Toronto. We go regularly. I'll give a plug to New Maritime Beer Company, which I'm an owner of.
Right. Yes.
And they've got great trivia nights down there. So I love a good trivia night. But of course, usually when you go to a pub trivia, you've got a team. So if I don't know, somebody else might know. Today it's just me. So
that's always on there.
Here we go. What's that?
I've never been to a trivia night.
The trivia nights. They do them. We usually do them for holidays.
Okay.
But also, there's like a league they do. I can't do the league because it's. But usually I think it's Wednesday or Thursday nights. But other places do it too, like a Pero or usually around the holidays. But if you're into trivia, next time I'm putting a team together, I'm gonna hit you up.
For sure. Because some of my coworkers, they do trivia nights, so they talk about it. It's a team trivia, so maybe I'm guessing it will be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, this one is pretty easy. First question: what are the 2 official languages used in Canada?
Okay. All right. Here we go. Well, I mean, it's English and French.
There we go.
Right. All right. You're gonna add the sound effects, right?
Yes.
So that and the graphics, so it'll be like a nice ding and a check mark, right? But if I get one wrong, you can go with the big X and the buzzer, like.
Yeah. From sea to sea is the official motto of which country? From sea to sea.
Is it the U.S.? Is it America?
No.
No.
Again, from sea to sea.
Is it Canada? Like,
yeah.
Okay. I just like again my overthinking. I'm like there wouldn't be 2 Canada questions in a row. It's got to be another one.
Yeah.
Is it C2 shining sea? Yeah. Is it not?
All right. Who is the main character in Frozen?
You know, I okay. I mean, I've got 2 answers. I've seen Frozen in bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a little too old for it to have been. Well, actually, a lot too old for it to have been for me.
Yes.
And I have many cousins and relatives that have kids who have been obsessed with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But is it? I mean, is it Elsa? Elsa. I wanted to, and I to say roll off, but
okay.
It is Elsa.
You got that one. Let me see if I can. Do you eat out a lot?
What? By the way, today in the Miramichi Frozen. It's us, isn't it?
There we go.
You're trying to stay warm.
It is.
Wait, what was the? I missed it.
Do you eat out a lot? Just a side question. Eat out a lot.
Eat out a lot. No. I mean, no, yes and no. Like if I'm on the road, which I am on the road a fair bit sometimes for work.
Okay.
But I always try to be balanced on that. And in this moment, of course, both because it's the new year, so I'm trying to be, renewing my health objectives and eating healthy, which is at home. And of course, with cost of everything these days too, we're trying to watch that. But usually, like we'll maybe end up going out once a week. On a, we also a pizza night is very sacred. I am obsessed. Pizza? I love pizza. So usually on a Friday night we'll either go out or stay in and have pizza.
Awesome. Pineapple on pizza?
Pineapple? Bring it on. Bring it on to me. I don't mind. I am very no olives. I'll tell you that. Okay. Anything else? Bring it on, but not the olives.
I'll give it that one too. No olives. Yeah. All right. What color is the M in the McDonald's symbol? Okay.
Now, I feel like my initial reaction was to say red, but I believe the answer is yellow.
Yellow.
Yes.
Correct.
The golden arches.
Awesome. And the final question. Name an instrument that starts with the letter X.
I feel like I can see it because it's xylophone, is it not?
There it is.
And this is like when you're a kid and you have the books that teach you the alphabet, and there aren't that many X's, so it's always xylophone. So thank you to the ABCs for helping me out on that one. 4 out of 5. That's not bad, Jamie.
That's good.
That leaves. I mean, because I know this is the first. Now podcast for Denka Media for you, and by the way, congratulations on that.
Thank you for coming on.
So I'm the current trivia champion then.
You are the current trivia champion.
But being 4 out of 5, that means I've left the door open for someone else to dethrone me eventually. Yeah. So
maybe a kind mayor.
That's it. That's right. But congrats, by the way. This is what made you decide to do this?
Really, I'm more into like I told you, I'm more into the music side of it.
Okay.
And behind the scenes type of thing. But my friends thought that I should just venture out more. It'd be a good idea for the person to see exactly being that I migrated to see exactly different perspectives, different people, different problem situations, different celebrations. So I just figured, why not just expand and just get experience.
Well, there you go. Well, again, we talked, I think, off air. I am not very musical. I wish I was, actually. I told you I'd love to be the lead singer of a big band, but that's not in the cards. But I'm glad that, I could help you expand out of that, out of your musical focus.
Yes, I do appreciate that a lot.
But congrats with this. I will have to, I know you're going to have many of these sometime.